What's good? This is going to be a custom PC unboxing. I decided to get rid of my old PC after 5 years and got a bunch of parts off Amazon, checked if they would check out to become a good PC, and decided to put it together, filmed the whole part. Hope you guys enjoy that. We're going to start off with our CPU, which is an AMD Ryzen 5th generation 36000X. It has 6 core and a speed up to 4.4 gigahertz. As we open the box, we find a bit of paperwork, which is not really necessary. Most of the important guidelines are on the motherboard, which means we can just toss these aside. In the box, you will already see a fan. The boxing experience for the AMD RYZEN series is amazing. You just take the CPU out of the side, which you can also see through the box. Toss that aside. We're going to take out the fan, which is going to be part of any CPU boxed you're going to buy. So overall, the box contained the fan, the CPU, the guidelines, and above the CPU you can see a tiny sticker which you can slap on your PC for an extra core, whatever. The AMD heatsinks come with pre-applied thermal paste. In case you mess that up, you gotta remove all of the thermal paste that is left and put on some new things. But that is a pretty good thing to have on the standard AMD heatsinks. Continuing with the motherboard, we have the ASUS Tough Gaming B550 Plus, which is pretty much one of the newest generation motherboards out there and has everything you need. Next to the actual hardware, it contains all of the necessary things: manual, eye shield, and whatever else you should need for your build. I honestly recommend building your own stuff. It is way cheaper and you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. Next up we have our storage unit, which is going to be a Samsung 860 EVO. This is a M.2 SATA drive, which can be put on directly on the motherboard. This was one of the best unboxing experiences. It is really hard plastic, most of it, and for such a tiny device, Samsung is doing a great job at designing how it's packaged. Continuing with our memory, we have Corsair's Vengeance LPX. These are going to be DDR4 RAM sticks with 16 gigabytes and 3200 megahertz. Should be enough to power every computer with enough memory space. And lastly, we have Corsair's TX650M, our PSU with a maximum of 650 watts. I chose this PSU because of the graphics cards, to be honest, which is going to be a Geforce GTX 780 Ti. So even if I decide to upgrade my GPU at some point, this PSU should be more than enough to come up with any bigger deal. All of these parts are going into a Corsair casing, which is going to be the 4000D airflow with tempered glass. I decided not to get any additional fans because the case has a huge open front, which we will see later. That should totally suffice the airflow. Lastly, I just need to get everything organized and start the build. You will only see the finished product though. And there she is. So like I mentioned before, the casing, it is fully open in the front, gridded. One bad thing about this was that the mesh that is behind the front, it actually got stuck to the fan because of its airflow, and it made a horrible noise. So all I did was I put a little screw in front of the mesh so that the fan and the mesh won't touch, which wasn't ideal, but it works just fine. It doesn't bother anyone, it doesn't bother me. I loved how Corsair designed this case. They just have these little knobs on the side of the panel which you can stick the front into, the same with the side panels, with the tempered glass panel. As per usually, I needed to put the front on the wrong way, just so you can see. This is going to be the inside of the finished PC. The motherboard has a little RGB lighting component to it, but in all, the build is pretty simplistic. I loved how it turned out. It works perfectly fine. I'm extremely happy with the build, and also I'm really happy that I built it myself because now I get to upgrade it whenever I want. But that was the finished product. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.